Let's say you cut your finger. The blood vessels around your cut will immediately contract, constricting blood flow in the area. Then, these special blood cells called platelets, along with some specific binding proteins, will form a sort of dam around the cut. This will eventually dry to what you know as a scab. The proper term for this blood clotting process is called coagulation. Sometimes, these blood clots happen in major veins or arteries in the heart. This is very dangerous and is one of the causes of a heart attack or a stroke. The proper term for unwanted coagulation is called thrombosis. Over the last year or so, we've been hearing about these very rare cases of COVID-19 patients developing these thrombotic conditions. At first, it's kind of confusing how a primarily respiratory disease can cause circulatory problems, but turns out there is a connection. The severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, commonly known as SARS-CoV-2, is a virus which causes the COVID-19 disease. Its primary targets are the cells which line the inside, epithelial cells, of your lungs called type 2 pnemcytes, and the cells which line the inside of blood vessels called endothelial cells. The virus locks onto a protein receptor on the cell surface called angiotensin-converting enzyme 2, or ACE2, thanks to the virus's spike glycoprotein. With the help of another cell surface protein, the viral enters the cell along with the ACE2 receptor, and does what any other RNA virus does, which is throw out its RNA and get the host cell to make new virion. The problem is that ANG2 is a type of protein receptor which, as the name suggests, converts angiotensin 2, or ANG2, a type of signaling peptide, into another version of angiotensin. And like all things in biology, receptor ligand pairs are really specific, just like locks and keys. In this case, it's angiotensin 2, or ANG2, which gets converted into ANG1-7. The peptide ANG2 is used to facilitate the fabrication of blood vessels, and ANG1-7 is a vasoactive, i.e. acting on blood vessels, ligand of another protein receptor called the MAS1, which when activated helps reduce your blood pressure. Therefore, the ANG2 and the activated MAS1 will always be a balance. Now, back to the scenario of someone getting COVID. The ACE2 receptor went down with the virus, so there's no more ACE2 to convert ANG2 into ANG1-7. So the MAS receptors can't get activated. Well, you may be thinking right now, how does this have to do with someone getting a blood clot? Well, the increase of ANG2 just floating around, since there's no more ACE2 to convert it, would, as I said, help facilitate the fabrication of blood vessels. Now that there's an excess, it would make your blood vessels thicker, meaning that it would help thrombosis happen. However, an activated MAS1, which also isn't happening, releases an antithrombotic signal. This means that blood clots will happen more frequently. However, too much activated MAS1 can also be dangerous, because then your blood would be a bit too thin. This is one of the factors which contributes to the complexity of COVID-19. There are likely other factors which contribute as well, which we still need to learn about, so let's stay curious.